Does a GPU mining rig give off lots of heat? So again, another question that's very common to get asked. Many people presume that, or they've heard, or the misconception is that cryptocurrency mining is very, very heat intensive, and this is why people have equipment in Iceland or really cold countries. Now there's some grain of truth to that again, but that's more so in the Bitcoin mining sector, where ultimately those machines run very, very hot. They're a single use machine and use very high voltage power, very high wattage, which is where the heat comes from. Now in the GPU mining world, we're able to vary how much watts a device uses, which massively influences the amount of heat. The difference here is, of course, we're using normal commercial products, which would go inside a normal desktop, albeit very high-end computer. So it's not like we're dealing with crazy heat levels. So one of our units will run at 1000 watts constant draw, and generally they're about 60% efficient for the task that's required. So you're looking roughly somewhere around 400 watts of that energy will be lost as thermal energy through the process of crypto mining. So one machine would be giving off around about 400 watts of thermal heat. So of course, for some people, you might think that's a lot. For other people, maybe not so. We do have clients who use many of these units at scale. If they have a big rack of rigs, as you can see behind me, in commercial environments at those type of scales, yes, you can use that heat in a very advantageous commercially way, maybe for heating sports centers, leisure centers, gyms, hotels, maize barns, cattle sheds, outbuildings, hotels, all that type of stuff. But for domestic individuals or for smaller business owners who only have a handful of these devices, it's just not a massive issue. The rigs cool themselves quite handsomely. You can put them in a normal spare room, basement, bedroom, not too much of a concern. And ultimately, as you can see, we have these in our office that we work in full time all day, every day, and the heat isn't of a massive concern. So other than your interest being at large commercial scale, the heat isn't a massive issue, equally as is the noise, as I'm stood here with these being filmed behind me, and hopefully you can still hear me just fine. So these are some of the misconceptions that come from the Bitcoin mining sector. For all they do give off a little bit of heat, it's certainly nothing that is going to be massively overwhelming or restrictive for people. It's just a miscommunication from the Bitcoin mining sector to the GPU mining sector, where we can control the energy input, the variables and the coin that are being mined, as well as the fan speed and temperature of the devices from our software. So it works slightly differently with much more advantages for more domestic or commercial environments.